What is up, guys? It is Christ, and I'm not really going to get into an explanation as to why I've been gone from Angra specifically here. I'm going to be doing a separate community post, so if you guys want to see an explanation as to why I've been gone, you guys can go check out my explanation there. It may not satisfy you, but it's what I got. The main gist of it is I've been really busy and I've been really depressed even thinking about this band, so I kind of stayed away from it for a while. Allowed myself to go through sort of like a healing process. I didn't know Andre Matos that well, but as like an artist, he definitely touched me in a way that not a lot of other vocalists have done. His voice was a gift to this world, and he was taken far, far, far too soon. And so that's the reason I haven't really been doing a lot of Angra reactions recently. It's also been I've been extremely busy. If you guys haven't noticed, there's been a huge drought of reactions just because this summer's just been crazy. Said I wasn't going to get into it, but here I am. Um, so there's going to be a more in-depth sort of explanation as to why I've been gone, so that you guys know that it's not because I don't want to do Angra. It's just been I knew that I was going to get emotional. I knew that I may have cried. I knew that I may have started to break down, and I didn't want that to happen, especially since the most requested album was Angels Cry, and it's just even now this is going to be a very different type of album reaction. This is going to be a very somber type of one. Even though I'm probably still going to enjoy the music, I can't ignore the fact of what happened. He was taken far too soon, and I know I'm going to get tons of comments. And if you guys want a place to vent, if you guys want a place to just sort of share your feelings and how much he meant to you as a vocalist, I encourage you to do so in the comment section below. Connect with other fans. Connect with me. I am always open to listening to you guys and hear your guys' thoughts, your guys' struggles, that kind of stuff. I'm always here. I may not be able to respond to everybody, but know that I look at every single comment that I get. So if you guys want some place to vent to, there's a place to do it. I do apologize. It's now 2.5 minutes, but I needed to explain that. This video, we're only going to be checking out one new song. We're going to be checking out Unfinished Allegro, and I've reacted to Carry On as well as Time. We're going to be doing 3 videos, but I'm not going to be skipping over these simply because the old reactions are outdated. They were recorded on a phone, and I want sort of the benefit of my modern type of setup as well. So that's the reason we're going to be checking them out. Again, not to mention the fact that I didn't do lyrical analysis back then. It was mainly just me reacting to the music. So we're going to be going in depth on the vocals and the lyrics here. So that's all I'm going to say for now. So we're going to be checking out Unfinished Allegro, Carry On, and then Time today. And hopefully next week we're going to be doing more. So with that out of the way, I suppose we can go ahead and get started. Hope it doesn't kick content ID at there at the end for Endless Sacrifice. Such a good song. Um, Back to a serious matter. Um, we're gonna start with a lyrical breakdown. So one of the things that I've always liked about this song that I didn't really touch on in my initial reaction back when I first started this channel was that this song is about moving on, accepting your mistakes in the past, learning from them, and continuing to carry on no matter the circumstances that have happened to you. Um, this is one of my favorite songs by Angra, and it's more relevant now than it has ever been. Because there's a lot of things that I've done. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. And sometimes the biggest thing, or the most difficult thing that you could do is forgive yourself for things that you have done. Um, and that's something that this song definitely sort of hits home for with me. Um, that's one of the things that I've always liked about this song. And in music, I can't remember if this was the first song. I don't think this was. I think that this was definitely one of the first ones I reacted to by them. But his vocals just absolutely blew me away. I I couldn't even like believe the stuff that I was hearing. The pitch and the range that he had was just out of this world, and it's something I'll never forget. Um, and it's something that I'm having trouble letting go of, because his voice was just so perfect. And while I didn't know his music that well, or I didn't know him like as a person that well, it still really impacted me. And I would be lying if I said I listened to Anger recently, simply because the circumstances. It's hard to listen to somebody that has passed away that you know is no longer here. When Chester Bennington died, I didn't listen to Linkin Park for a solid 2 or 3 months, and because every time I would listen to them, I would just break down in tears. And I imagine that a lot of you are the same way when it comes to this tragic passing. He was taken far too soon. Angels weep over this. I mean, this album title is just so fitting right now. Um, yeah. I would say that the music, let's move on to a lighter note. The music in this song was absolutely amazing. The guitar riffs, the beautiful solo by Kiko is just absolutely amazing. It touches your soul. The drums are absolutely amazing, and the bass sections and the symphonic and orchestral sections absolutely blow me away with Anger. This is part of the reason I fell in love with this band, was simply the fact that they're just absolutely amazing variety in their music. As well, it was just different to me. Like the first time I heard them, I had never really heard anything outside of U.S. music from the United States, and so it captured me in a way that like not a lot of other things do. And so that's one thing I really enjoy about Angra, was the fact that when I first listened to them, the first stuff that I heard was just so unique compared to everything else I had heard. So that's just my sort of analysis and review on Carry On and Unfinished Allegro. They're both really good parts to they're really the same song. There's a lot of elements in Unfinished Allegro that end up being used in Carry On, so that I consider them both the same song. Rather an introduction to that song. So the next one we're going to be doing is Time, and I've actually decided, I said in the beginning of the video that I was only going to do this next one. I'm going to do Angels Cry as well today. I don't know if I've reacted to that one right off the top of my head. I'm leaning more towards I have, but I don't know. And it looks like one of my favorite bands, Theocracy, has actually done a cover of Time. So if you guys want me to check that out, let me know, because I would definitely like to check that out, but I want to see, like, sort of gauge interest first before I do it. But we're going to be checking out Angra's Time. I'm going to be reacting to the music video simply because I can't find a normal just studio version of it, and I'd rather it come directly from their channel than some random person, because I don't really know what the audio quality would sound like. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out Time. I've seen this video.
What life means to live it again. I'm looking forward, feel
Beautiful
the
guitar
light
riff.
shining in my eyes. And now I know my instincts were not wrong, and many things can be done. I don't believe now that I'm dreaming alone. We're searching for the love that everyone's got, but can't
Absolutely amazing song. Time is definitely one of my favorites that they have uh, done. Absolutely amazing song. So I guess we'll start with a little bit of a musical analysis first. So one of the things that I really liked about this song was the fact that they had, I don't know, I'm not really that like knowledgeable on like what type of brass instrument they was using. I think it was a trombone, but I'm not sure. But either way, during the during like that one riff, I think it's the pre-chorus riff or it's the post-chorus riff. They had the really nice guitar riff as well as the trombone. I think they had there. That was really nice, and I really liked the touch at the end where they brought the bass in. It really cut through the mix at the end right there. I really enjoyed that as well. The guitar solo in this song is just absolutely amazing by Kirk. I mean, not Kirk, Kiko. He is consistently one of the best guitarists I have ever heard. And I'm actually going to be making, I don't know exactly how soon, but like a top 10 guitarist videos, and he is definitely going to be in it. Because, man, he is just completely out of this world when it comes to playing uh, guitar solos, and just riffs in general. He's just absolutely amazing. So the drums on this song were excellent. I really liked the production quality in this. The drums, you can hear each individual one. They're not muddy. They sound very clear. They sound very pronounced, and they have a punch to them, which is what I like out of drum sets. The guitars as well, they have a very, very, very nice EQ. I really like the guitars. I love the riffs. I love the guitar solos that they had, and I love the different kinds of like some sort of symphonic elements that were in this song as well. That was definitely amazing, and Andre's vocals are completely out of this world. He is one of the best vocalists I have ever heard. Easily top 3 vocalists I have ever heard in my life. I would say that James Labrie is one of them, Rob Halford, and then Andre in terms of how high they can go and just the consistency. Those are my 3 favorite vocalists for at least the high pitch side of things. Absolutely amazing. Now, just like the last time I did this video with this song, the lyrics are still kind of unclear to me. I don't really have a whole lot to say on the lyrics department simply because he's sort of all over the place, and a lot of the things he is saying doesn't really make sense with compared to like what the song title is. Maybe I'm just reading into this like the completely wrong way. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys will have to help me with the lyrical sort of an analysis in this, because he's using a lot of expressions that I don't necessarily understand. They could be sort of influenced from where he lived, and so that could be a reason I'm not really understanding some things, because there's some things that people from the UK say that I don't necessarily understand. Australia or Germany, places like that, they all have different sort of metaphors that unless you really were in that area, you wouldn't be able to understand them very well. So that's what I'm seeing a lot of here is just different kinds of metaphors that I'm just not understanding. So if someone could help me with that, that would be amazing. However, it doesn't take away the fact that this song is just absolutely amazing. I am very much looking forward to the next song. And I suppose we should get to Angel's Cry. Now, I don't believe I have reacted to this one, but I could very well be wrong. Because I've reacted to a lot of Angra before I started doing the album reaction, so I don't really know what I've done and what I haven't. I've actually done a goof before where I actually had reacted to one I had already reacted to, and I didn't realize it at the time. So I'm just gonna put a disclaimer. I don't know if I've reacted to this one or not. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out Angel's Cry. Hopefully there's no ad. I think there will be. Okay. Excellent sort of melody at the beginning. Ooh, oh, okay. Hello.
Crying the night of angels.
Oh, he's just hitting my soul right now.
It's like angels crying, can't take no more. Angels dying.
Oh man, that's sad. I'm thinking he's talking about homeless people on the street.
Try to see this misery. Your future is not all been wasted to be, so try to fly. The answer lies in the every darkness can be. So you just keep on standing in these fields of your life. You sow the seeds that never grow. Yeah. Though others come such a stranger with the few. Still you waiting, it's in vain. The change must come right now.
Okay. Sort of like reminds me of Seasons in the Abyss right now. Really like that acoustic contrast to the electric. I really enjoy that. Okay. Excellent jam section. Really enjoy this. Come on. Oh man, excellent section. And oh, that was Rebirth. Absolutely amazing song as well by them. Um, Holy crap, that song was absolutely amazing. The subject matter and just the instrumentation just touched my soul, man. Um, I want to talk about the lyrics first. I'm gonna completely disregard um, what the sort of interpretation means, since it looks like it's just some random person sort of saying what they think it sounds like. So here's a quote. It says, "It's pretty much a song talking about kids who live on the streets." That's an actual quote. That's not me saying it, so I'm just going to disregard what this person's saying. I'm going to act like I didn't see that. Um, One thing I can say is it says angels are crying. So it says angels crying, angels dying. So we know right away that it's not talking about actual angels. Angels are sort of innocent, and they have never really been born, so they can't actually die. So that's something I can say about this, is it's not talking about actual angels. So it says, "Cry in the night of angels, for that light that never shine, with their hearts so full of sorrow, muddy waters all around, the curtain falls for helpless souls. How they suffer swept aside, and the raging streams are flowing with so little hope inside." So it sounds like this is talking about people who live in poverty to me. I would say that this sounds like perhaps people who live on the streets, um, who are basically exposed to the cruelness of the weather. Um, for example, another reference I can make is when it says, "So try to fly, the answer lies in the angry, darkened skies." So it sounds like a storm is happening. It could be a flood. It could be sort of. That's what I imagine it is. I imagine this is talking about a flood, and people are. It could be just the torrents of life hitting them. It could be a metaphorical flood. It could be a literal flood, but I believe it's talking about some sort of flood. So one of the things that I can say is this: angels are normally innocent, and adults tend to lose their innocence. So I can definitely sort of see where this person is coming from. It could be talking about children who are homeless on the streets, who are just in absolute poverty. They are probably starving. No access to clean water. For example, it says muddy waters all around. Um, so it could be talking about how children are crying out for help, and no one is helping them, and these children are dying. That's what I think this song could be about, and I can definitely see what this person was saying, but it was not the right way to say it. Uh, and one of the things that hit me home, it says, "Try to see this misery. Your future is not what you wished it to be." So these kids grow up hopeful that they're going to be able to bring themselves out of this situation, and reality hits them, and they're basically the same. Another thing that I wanted to sort of point out, it says, "You sow the seeds that never grow. No harvest comes, such a strain to feed the few." So it sounds like this could be a metaphorical sowing of seeds, or literal. Um, Sort of metaphorical could be they were sowing the seeds, they were trying to get themselves out of this situation, and they weren't able to. Another sort of way it could be talking about is literal seeds, where maybe there was some sort of famine in the area, and no seeds or really anything would grow, and so these people would just starve to death. There could be two different ways to interpret this. Um, and it could be actually a combination of both of them, because they both go hand in hand. If you were able to pull yourself out of this, you probably wouldn't have to rely on grains and like wheat fields and that kind of stuff. I see on the album cover it looks like wheat fields. Um, so in that sort of aspect, I suppose they can sort of go hand in hand. Um, and so another thing that sort of like supports what I was saying about metaphorical, it says, "From this life you cannot hide. The change must come tomorrow for the solemn weeping eyes." So it definitely sounds like these people can't get themselves out of this situation, and people need to sort of unite together and help these people out of this situation. That's what I see in this. Um, tried to see. Okay, I think I already sort of said that. Try to see this misery. Your future is not what you wish it to be. Yeah, I've already read that. Okay, I've sort of gone over everything. This song was absolutely amazing. I don't believe I've heard it. Um, and the lyrics just sort of are so heartbreaking because you hear about all this stuff and you sort of get desensitized by it. The media shows it all the time, and you sort of get desensitized to it over time. You start to just see it on the news, and you don't really it doesn't really impact you in the same way that someone who's literally been there is describing the way these, for example, children are dying in the streets because they don't have any food or water. It hits you completely different. It kind of shocks you that that this kind of thing is happening, and you see it all the time, but yet you tend not to believe it over time. And it's not that you don't want to believe it or you think they're lying. It's just you get desensitized to it. Um, and even in my country, there's people that starve to death. There's a very clear abuse of things that are going on in the government, and I can only imagine what it's like here in Brazil. Um, yeah, so that's the reason this sort of like really hits me hard was what he was saying. He was basically um, trying to bring awareness to the things that were happening. It's probably not only in Brazil. There's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of countries all around the world that are dealing with this terrible affliction, this disease, this plague of famine, and it's heartbreaking to see. No, you don't ever want to think about children dying, and yeah, I'm gonna stop before I get sort of like I'm getting kind of emotional just thinking about it. So I'm just gonna stop right there. Um, I think that the music in this was absolutely amazing. There was so many amazing guitar riffs, and that breakdown section where they had in the middle was just absolute perfection. I really enjoyed that. As well as the guitar solo was absolutely amazing. I really like how they sort of dropped it off, and they started with an acoustic guitar, and then they kicked the drums in, and then they did sort of like heavier distorted guitars, and it absolute perfection. I really liked that layering that they did. I told you guys before I'm a huge fan of layering, and I love that they did that. Sorry, excuse me. This song was absolutely amazing. This album, I could tell, is definitely going to be one for the books. Um, I just want to thank you guys so much for sort of supporting me throughout this. I never really wanted to sort of take a break, but due to circumstances that were just beyond my control, um, you guys ended up getting affected the most. The people who watch Angra ended up getting affected the most, and I never intended for that to happen. I never sit down and just intentionally ignore a band for like a month or two. It's never been my intention. I've always loved this band. Everything that I've heard from them has just blown me away, and I never wanted to take this long of a break. But there's just been a variety of stuff that's happened. So, with that out of the way, we are going to be doing episode 2 next week. Hopefully, it's all original songs. I appreciate your guys' patience for those of you that have heard or seen my reactions to these songs before. But they needed the benefit of my modern setup. Um, I was recording back on a phone back then, so that's the reason why it's not only a good idea but to re-record these, but also because I can do a lyrical analysis. Hopefully, you guys appreciate that as well. Um, that's gonna be the end of this episode, guys. I just want to say that I'm right there with you when it comes to mourning for the loss of Andre, because the world lost an angel. It's the truth. He was such a talented and gifted person, and I know nothing about his personal life, but I could only imagine that he was just, if he can make songs like this, he was probably one of the nicest uh, people in the entire world. To make and bring awareness to something like this was absolutely amazing to see. So with that out of the way, guys, we're gonna go ahead and end this episode. Rest in peace, Andre Matos.